What's up, YouTube? Zandar here, continuing with the intro packs for Dragons of Tarkir before they're released in stores. This is Masked Ranks. This is the white and green deck, which I have a feeling is going to have a lot of bolster abilities in this and a lot of formable, so we'll just have to wait and see. As always with these decks, you're always going to get a really good premium card for your 60-card deck. In this one, it's going to be the Irration Sovereign. It's a pretty cool looking card. We'll take a better look at that in a second. You're going to get your 2 packs of Dragons of Tarkir. You're going to get your instruction booklet of how to play this deck and your rules reference card in case you're new to Magic. Let's go ahead and look straight into this, as I know everybody is eagerly wanting to know what each deck has and kind of to see the cards for themselves before you're able to buy them. There's that Irration Sovereign. He's a 7 mana cost, 6/6 with flying. Whenever he dies, you may put it on the top or bottom of its owner's library. Pretty solid card. This could be good for maybe Commander. I don't know about that. Let me know in the comments below. I would think so, being a solid 6/6 flying, and you get him back each time he dies. So, our other rare is an instant ability, Secure the Wastes. It's an X Plains. Put X 1/1 white warrior creature tokens onto the battlefield. A Dromoko Dunecaster, 1 mana cost, 0/2. You can pay 2 mana and tap them to tap target creature without flying. Servant of the Skill, 1 mana cost, 0/0, but the skill enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. If the Servant of Skill dies, you can put X, +1/+1 counters on target creature you control, where X is the number of +1/+1 counters on Servant of the Skill. I know it seems like a lot, but this is a pretty simple, great card. This was used during pre-release a lot. If people were lucky, they had 2 or 3 of these, sometimes even 4 in their decks. It really allowed them to move around the counters, and a lot of times this is the card that gets bolstered as well, because it's one of your weakest cards on the board, and then you get to move all your bolsters after it dies. Very solid card. Glad to see 2 of them in this deck. That's something I would increase, because very, very solid card. The Dromoko Warrior, 2 mana cost, 3/1. Since his toughness is so low, people can get rid of him pretty quick, unless you play a bolster with him to buff him up just a little bit more. Lightwalker, one of the most devastating cards from the pre-release as well. It's a 2 mana, 2/1. It has flying as long as it has a +1/+1 counter on it. So once again, if you have a lot of 1 toughness creatures out, you're going to be able to buff this guy with give him flying and put a +1/+1, or he stacks up deadly really quick. So you got to watch out for that. You got to remove them as a threat immediately. And because of that, you see 3 of them in this deck. Pretty rare you see 3 of a card in these intro packs. Territorial Rock, 2 mana cost, 1/3 with flying. Pretty explanatory. Nice little blocking flyer. Scaleguard Sentinels, 2 mana cost, 2/3. As an additional cost to cast the Scaleguard Sentinels, you may reveal a dragon card from your hand. As it enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it if you did reveal a dragon card, or control the dragon card as you cast the Sentinels. Pretty solid uncommon for the set. Sandcrafter Mage is a 3 mana cost, 2/2. When the mage enters the battlefield, you may bolster 1. This is our first bolster mechanic, so basically this allows you to choose a creature with the least toughness among all creatures you control and put a +1/+1 counter on it. What I'll add to this is, if you have 3 creatures with a 1 toughness, you get to choose where that bolster goes. So, Salt Road Quartermasters is an uncommon for 3 mana. It's a 1/1. It enters the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. You can pay 3 mana, being 2 uncolored and 1 forest, to remove a +1/+1 counter from the Quartermasters and put the +1/+1 counter on a target creature. So, allows you to move around a little bit. So we're going to see a couple of those in the deck. Champion of Irration is a 4 mana cost, 3/2 with lifelink. Lifelink's is ability that damage you dealt by this creature causes you to gain that much life. Pretty decent card. No matter what, you're going to gain some life out of it unless they spell it off the field somehow. Avian Tactician is a 5 mana cost, 2/3 with flying. When the Tactician enters the battlefield, you may bolster 1. We've been over that mechanic now, so you know it's actually pretty solid. You're always gaining 1 power and toughness somewhere on the board. Sandstep Scavenger is a 5 mana cost, 2/2. When the Scavenger enters the battlefield, you may bolster 2. Like I mentioned, you're going to see a lot of bolster in this deck. Enduring Skill Lords, a 6 mana, cost 4/4 flying. Whenever one or more +1/+1 counters are placed on another creature you control, you may put a +1/+1 counter on the Skill Lord. Wow, he's strong. If you can get him out early while you're still bolstering cards, you could easily make him an 8/8 in a single turn due to some of the other green cards we have in this deck. And with that being said, you're obviously going to see a couple of him. This deck also includes an Evolving Wilds. You can sacrifice it and search for a basic land. Put it into play tapped. You're going to see your typical plains and forests. And we're going to end with our sorceries, enchantments, and spells. First one being Pacifism is finally reprinted. 2 mana cost. Enchant creature, it can't attack or block. Pretty sweet artwork. Glad to see this card back in the series. Dromoka Monument. We knew we'd be seeing this. It's a 3 mana cost. You can tap it and add a forest or plains to your mana pool, or you can pay the 6 mana cost for being uncolored and then a forest and a plains. He becomes a 4/4 green and white dragon artifact creature of flying until end of turn. You see a lot of those in these decks. Inspiring Call is a 3 mana cost, uncommon card in the set. Draw a card for each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it. Those creatures gain indestructible until end of turn. Wow, wow, wow. This is the card that's probably going to help you win games. Has a low mana cost to get out. If they declare multiple blockers to all your bolstered creatures this turn, they're going to live because they're going to have indestructible. And you get to draw, I mean, you're probably going to draw 3 or 4 cards just from this. So all those blue players are going to be jealous. You're paying 3 mana to draw probably at least 2 or 3 cards. Great solid card and indestructible. Glad to see 2 of those in there. Sheltered Eyrie is a 3 mana cost. Enchant land. The land has tap, add 2 mana of any one color to your mana pool. Pretty solid if you need to help getting some other mana out on the board. Scale Blessing is an uncommon in the set. It's a 4 mana cost. Bolster 1, then put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it. Wow, so much bolster in this deck, and this is basically a quadruple bolster card per se, depending what you have on the board. And with that being said, obviously you're going to see multiple of that in the deck as well. Enduring Victory is a 5 mana cost. Destroy target attacking or blocking creature and bolster 1. Nothing better than getting rid of something. 5 mana cost, a little high. I don't think I'd run this in my deck. Having extra bolster is awesome, but I mean it could be good to deal with bombs. So maybe if just one's in there, it'd be all right. Dromoka's Gift, uncommon in the set. 5 mana cost, allows you to bolster 4. +4/+4 to the creature with the lowest toughness. So once again, this can be extremely deadly on the Light Warden because it's going to turn him into I believe a 6/5 flying creature immediately. So it just makes him an instant threat for 5 mana. And you're going to see 2 of those for the remainder of the set. Pretty solid, strong set. If you're looking to start playing Magic the Gathering, this is a set I would probably recommend. The bolster mechanic's really fun. It's really fun to turn your weak creatures into stronger ones. I saw really great things from the Forest and Plains decks. The Dromoka decks is what it's called at the pre-release. Very solid decks, very strong, very hard to win against. So a great starter to start out with for this intro pack. And once again, this was Masked Ranks. We'll look at the premium card one last time, and then we'll open our packs and see what kind of luck we have. We still have yet to pull a mythic or any. I think we've pulled a premium uncommon, and that's about it so far. We'll skip over our commons. Trying really hard not to spoil anything. Our first uncommon is an Enduring Skill Lord. 6 mana cost, 4/4 flying. We had 2 of those in the set, so we've been over this. Explosive Vegetation. We pulled one of these in another pack. It's a 4 mana cost. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Put them on the battlefield tapped. Shuffle your library. Great card if you're having mana issues or getting the right colors out for your dual or tricolor decks. Youthful Scholar is a 4 mana cost, 2/2. When he dies, draw 2 cards. Wow. 4 mana for a 2/2 is a little high, but you get to draw 2 cards. Awesome, awesome card. You might see this in some type of black or blue exploit deck as well, since you'll be exploiting and killing him, drawing the cards, and then making your exploited creature even stronger. And now our rare or mythic for the set is Obscuring Aether. It's a single mana cost forest. Face down creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. So if you're putting out a bunch of morphs, for 1 uncolored and a forest, you can turn the Aether face down. It becomes a 2/2 creature. I don't think we're gonna see too much of this. I think it's a pretty weak rare, and I don't even see it on the top 20 for the set. I don't believe so. Not too impressive. An island and a tip card. Let's hope we can start having better luck with these packs. We'll skip past all of our commons. Our first uncommon is a Sight Beyond Sight. 4 mana cost. Look at the top 2 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand and the other onto the bottom of your library. This is our first rebound card, which you see in blue typically. If you cast a spell from your hand, you can exile it as it resolves. At the beginning of your next upkeep, you may cast this card from exile without paying its mana cost. So basically, you're paying 4 mana to play this card twice. Pretty solid card. Calcisma Behemoth, we've been over this one. It's a 3 mana cost, 5/5. He can't attack or balk unless you pay 2 colorless. Tapestry of the Ages, 4 mana cost, 2 and tap, draw a card, activate this ability only if you've cast a non-creature spell this turn. Alright guys, we need some luck. We need to pull something good, so let's look for a rare or mythic. Hidden Dragon Slayer, 2 mana cost, 2/1, lifelink. This is a white Megamorph card. Basically, you pay 3 to put him down as a Morph 2/2 creature, and then you can pay 3 mana cost, 2 uncolored, and 1 plains to turn him face up with a +1/+1 counter on it. If he's turned face up, destroy target creature with power 4 or greater and opponent controls. That's a pretty solid Megamorph. You could probably see this card played quite a bit, because he's pretty much going to come up as a 3/2. He's only going to have a total mana cost of 6, so you'd see him as early as, turn 4. And you could destroy something big. Pretty solid. You can always leave him face down as a 2/2 for the extra survivability until you Megamorph him out to kill another creature. And we have a plains and a tip card. So no amazing pulls, but thanks for watching, guys. I definitely appreciate it.